Good morning, Rakesh.
Hi, Vijay. How are you?
Very
Thanks
well.
for having me.
Welcome to Road to Reinvention 2020. So I want to sort of spend a moment talking to the audience about Tote a little bit. I introduced your company during my opening remarks. And actually, before I forget, thank you so much, Martin and Edmund. That was a wonderful way to kick off sort of the transformation story during the pandemic. So I remember this vividly, Rakesh, because I was actually on a plane with my wife going on vacation, and we were reading the New York Times, and I read the story about Tote acquiring Lord & Taylor, and remember saying, who is Tote? What is Tote? And this is, because I've been telling the story of software for quite a while now, and I was really impressed by sort of what it is you were doing at Tote and sort of the acquisition of Lord & Taylor. And I reached out actually to the audience. I looked up on LinkedIn, the software story, and figured out how I could reach out to Rakesh. And here we are. So Rakesh, it's been a wild ride for the last couple of years. You achieved a heck of a lot, and then sort of the pandemic hit. But I'll let you tell the story in your own words. Tell the audience a little bit about Tote, what the business is, your vision. So how do you get started? And that's it, maybe until the pandemic.
Sure. So, we started the company about 8 years ago. The idea was actually inspired by my wife, who was going through a second pregnancy, sharing and swapping clothes with some close friends. And that's really where, the light bulb went off, where we realized, there's a problem of closet full of clothes, nothing to wear every day. So there's the problem of variety that we wanted to solve. And what we realized was women that we were talking to were sharing and swapping with a lot of their friends. All of this was a very hyper local activity. You had to find people that were your shape, your size, your style, people that you trusted, and people that had other things for you to swap with. And so we said, how about we take this behavior that's taking place in the offline world to online and really create a closet in the clouds, really make fashion accessible to everyone every day through a rental experience. So the way Tote works is it's a subscription service where you fill out a style profile, you answer a series of questions, we get to learn a little bit about you, and then we send you a curated box of garments and accessories for you to keep and wear as long as you want. When you're done wearing, you send them all back and we'll send you another box of garments and accessories. So the whole idea is to give you that variety for everyday wear, and the cadence is as much or as little as you want, and you pay based on that. So we started the company, like I said, 8 years ago. We've grown it significantly over the last 7.5 years. We've got hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of customers across the US, and we've grown into a number of different categories. We started with women's straight size, and then we've gone into extended sizing, and now we also have maternity. And early in 2019, we actually even launched Tote in China. This was an opportunistic transaction that we participated in. And the Chinese business has also been growing pretty tremendously.
No, that's a really interesting story, and you would think that maternity would be the perfect opportunity for rental clothing. So at your peak, sort of, can you share sort of what you were doing in terms of numbers or how many customers and?
Yeah, so about 250,000 customers at peak. The company was growing between 50 and 100% year over year, and we started growing we started with being on the coast and then started going inwards into the country. So I'd say a lot of our growth initially came from the coast. And as news of the service grew, as people got to learn more and more about it, we started getting a lot more adoption from customers in the Midwest and the South.
And then sort of the opportunity to buy Lord & Taylor presented itself, and you leapt at it. So walk us through that, because Lord & Taylor, of course, is this storied brand that we're all familiar with.
Yeah, so to be honest, it was never to go out and buy a department store chain. So we were thinking about two specific things, and those were in two very different areas, and it sort of converged with Lord & Taylor's acquisition. So let me walk you guys through it. So, over the course of the 7.5, 8 years at the company, we developed some amazing pieces of technology. We developed some really amazing algorithms to help create a much more personalized experience for the customer. We developed the sizing algorithm, the personalized recommendation tools, and the styling algorithms. And so all of that was really, really interesting for some of the other retailer friends and brands that we were talking to. And so on the back end, we had developed own technology on the inventory management side, on the content management side, on the warehouse controls and the warehouse management side. And so we said, we've developed these amazing pieces of technology. We should really go license this out or offer a managed service solution to other brands that want to offer either rental or want to offer a stylist-focused box that they want to send out to their users or consumers. And so we then were in very deep conversations with Lord & Taylor about extending our technology to them, where our technology would power the .com experience. And a lot of our technology that had been developed online would actually be repurposed to bringing into the stores, so completely changing the store experience. In parallel, we had been thinking about an offline extension of Tote, where people would be able to go into the stores, be able to try any of the clothes, or simply go to the store, drop off their boxes, pick up a new set of clothes, and walk out of the store. So we thought that would be a magical experience for the Tote customer. Long story short, in the midst of these conversations with Lord & Taylor, where we were, I would say, one step away from signing a deal, Lord & Taylor's parent decided that they wanted to potentially sell Lord & Taylor. And that's where, we got spinning about thinking about potentially acquiring Lord & Taylor and offering the same experience that we had thought that we would do with our customers to our customers and to Lord & Taylor customers. Additionally, we thought this would be a great way for us to completely change the way people think about retail. So imagine going into a store where you have the ability to buy, rent, or subscribe to a whole host of different offerings. So it would be the most magical retail experience that you could ever imagine, powered by all of this amazing technology that we had developed.
No, I think this is really interesting because it also ties into what Edmund was just talking about, which is how do we improve sort of the in-store experience at Nordstrom in that case. But what you were talking about was trying to do it at Lord & Taylor. Let's talk, to me that's really interesting because I think a lot of the online retailers, no matter what industry, a lot of the physical retailers, no matter the industry, sort of the sector, have been working on how do we improve the in-store experience. And sort of, I see something sort of when you approach it software first, which is of course a mantra like I've been reciting for many years now, you sort of see a problem to be solved as to sort of, if you lead with software first, you can actually improve both experience, productivity, efficiency, all these things that are really important in a tough competitive sector like retail. Let's get a little more specific about sort of the software that you built, because I remember you telling me when we were planning the session that you looked at a lot of commercial software and there really wasn't sort of, at least particularly in reverse logistics and a couple of other things, like, you had to go out and build your own. Talk to us a little bit about sort of what you saw and sort of why these software first companies, I mean, in your case, a pure software company, actually sort of have this ability to sort of see the world a different way?
Yeah, so when we started out, we thought we're building the next generation retailer with a very different business model. So our initial assumption was we're really doing a business model innovation, not creating technology innovation. And our assumption was, e-commerce had been around for a while, so there should be tools that are out there that would help us conduct our business in the way we want it. Once we started, with the service, we realized there's a lot of complexity in our business that is not handled by any of the other technology solutions that are out there. So we had to build out our own inventory management system that could handle 100% reverse logistics or 100% return. Right. Even though e-commerce had been around for such a long time, a lot of the systems that were out there in 2012, 13, 14 really hadn't thought about returns as a growing category. We always treated sort of an edge case. However, right. If you're in e-commerce, your general returns can be anywhere from 20 to 70%, depending on the type of product or the categories of products that you're selling. For women's categories, it's between 30 and 40%, depending on the types of things, and can go up to 70% when you're looking at things like jeans and pants and things of that, and shoes. So we felt like there should have been companies that should have handled those aspects well. Given that there was nothing, we then brought in a CTO that actually wrote the software from the ground up. Then on the customer-facing front, we realized that the number of touch points that we have with our customers is far greater than any other commerce company. So what that means is that we have the opportunity to collect more data from our customers than any other retailer. We also have the opportunity to give them the best possible experience. Conversely, our customer, because she's interacting with us so often, expects a better and higher level of personalization from us than she expects from any of the other retailers that are out there. So we, brought in human stylists that would actually take a look at a lot of this data and then style for this customer. Yep. Very quickly, we realized that given the number of touch points that we have with our customer and the amount of feedback that we get, it's almost impossible for our human stylist to then use that data to get accurate results. So for example, 80% of our products that get sent out, but so the number is between 80 and 85% of the products that get sent out to a customer gets rated by her. And she's rating it on about between 13 and 15 different attributes. It's not just I liked it or I did not like it, because that wouldn't tell us the why behind the what. We're trying to really understand what attributes of the product you actually liked and what attributes you didn't like. So we're taking those signals to then recommend a much better selection of products to you. Very quickly realized that human stylists just could not get as accurate with the styling or the sizing. The styling, they were generally more accurate, but with sizing, every product is, different from a numerical sizing or a alphanumeric sizing, from brand to brand, and even season to season, style to style. And so we then built out our own styling algorithm as well as our fit engine that would not just recommend you the best product that matches your style, but the best product in the best size that would match you, and recommend items in that fit you in the way you like to wear things. And then going one level further, we said, we not only have to understand people's style preferences and fit preferences, but we really need to understand the weather patterns in the areas that they live in. The weather is actually really, really important and critical, because we realized over time from the feedback that we got from our customers was, great, I love the box that I got from you guys, but over the next 7 days, it was rather cold and foggy in our area versus what the general weather trends are like. And so I wasn't able to get a lot of utility out of it. So then we said, let's understand their preferences, their style, and then really go down to the weather patterns in the area and recommend them the most personalized products that will work for them for that period of time. So really, technology and data was at the very core of what we built, and we were extending it to our customers through these amazing algorithms. And they didn't actually know that there were algorithms. They actually believed there were human beings, because the recommendations just kept getting better and better over time. And this is the magic of AI and ML.
I want to pause there for a moment, because I think this is absolutely fantastic, because what you're really speaking to is something that I fervently believe, which is we can do so much more on productivity, on efficiency, on experience with these kinds of sort of technologies that are now available that weren't available just a few short years ago. And things like preferences around fit and whether are, not don't vary with the pandemic. Hopefully not, anyway. So I think that's, I'm going to switch to a few audience questions here. And obviously, we know that you filed Chapter 11. So what's the next chapter for Tote and Lord & Taylor?
So, where we are is, we filed Chapter 11 because we were under a debt load that the company could not handle, given, our stores were closed for a long time, and sales were down between 80 and 90% for the most part. There were some categories that actually did okay, but most did not. So where we are is we're actually looking for a buyer where we would liquidate all of the Tote and Lord & Taylor assets, so that we could then pay off our banks and our creditors.
Yeah, I saw a news report yesterday that said somebody's trying to buy just the intellectual property assets, the software for Tote, which sort of speaks to the value that is inherent in some of these assets. So can you speak to that a little bit?
So, I mean, a lot of the bids that are coming in are really all around the IP and the technology and the team. And what they really want to do is really take on the team and the technology to then go out and execute exact vision that we had, which is allow other brands and retailers to offer a much more personalized online and offline experience than they've ever done before. And so a lot of the other retailers and brands that are bidding for it want to actually strip out some of the technology. So for example, one person wants to really just take the fit technology and offer it on their website. Another one is saying, we really want to take fit and the personalization technology to power our website going forward, and we'll find a way to bring these into the stores as well, because a lot of that technology has been developed as well.
Do you think there's a future for the rental business model post-pandemic?
I think there is. I really do. I think our revenues have not fallen off 100%. If I thought there wasn't as much of a future, I would have seen that in the numbers. Now, obviously, our numbers are not growing because people that use Tote typically use Tote because they're dressing for work. Yeah. Every day, 90+% of our customers say they join Tote because they want to dress for work differently every day. Given that a lot of people are just still working from home, we're not seeing as much growth in the business. The business has definitely slowed down. Revenues have come down significantly, but it's not down to zero. So, and when I talk to customers, they tell me they're excited to restart their subscription when they're ready to go back to work.
So just a final quick question, 30 seconds to answer. So congratulations on sort of this innovative story. I'm sorry it didn't end as well as we would have all hoped, because it really was, I think, a really, really clever idea. So what's next for Rakesh Tondon?
So I'm really again gonna go back to the drawing board, look at interesting spaces. There's a lot of learnings that I've had. I want to think about ways how technology can create better, more efficient processes for other spaces or very similar spaces. I have a lot of really interesting people that have come out that want me to work with them. So, exploring what's next for me.
Well, good luck. And thank you so much for taking the time. This was really illustrative and informative. Thank you again.
Thanks for having me.